Hi. Okay, so for my paper, I decided to choose the gender wage gap. This is something I've been pretty passionate about for a while. I competed in Miss NSU probably 3 years ago, and this was my platform because I really feel like it's just a growing problem in the United States, and some people think that it's just specific to one gender and one specific type of race. I mean, it obviously is to one gender. It's the gender wage gap for a reason, but most people think that it's just one race, and it's really not. It differs. I mean, African Americans make less than like Asian or Chinese people. White women, obviously, they make a little bit more, which is also one of the other problems. Just because white women have the same degree and same level of education, even from the same university, they're making less, and it's not okay. I mean, it's not okay that women are making less, but it's really not okay that now that the problem is becoming so big that they're now doing it to race. So, for those of you that don't know, the gender wage gap is best defined as it is the average difference between the remuneration for men and women who are working. Women are generally paid less than men. The gender wage gap is a stubborn fixture of our economic landscape, but new research shows that the reality of today's gender wage gap is more complicated than the figure often bandied about in Washington, 80 cents to a man's dollar. In fact, the gap might actually be much worse, yet much simpler to fix than we actually assume. Most women don't actually look at their paycheck. They just assume that they're making the same amount as men and their other colleagues, and that's just not the case. Another reason why it's getting so bad is millennials. I don't mean to pinpoint you millennials because I'm a millennial as well, but they're not looking at their checks. They don't really understand how to read their checks. They don't understand what taxes are being taken out and why they're making less than their male counterparts. And so that's also just another question, or that's just another factor that's going into it. Also, we don't ask questions. Men ask those questions. They're like, why am I not getting paid this? I think I deserve this. And women, I think we feel a little bit shy and timid in that aspect of it, that we shouldn't be asking those questions, and we should. We should be asking, why am I making less than my male counterparts? Like, why am I making less than her? Now, obviously, if they have their PhD or their master's and you don't, they're obviously probably going to make a little bit more. So, I mean, you can't just go into your boss's office and be like, why am I making less than them? You really have to make sure that you have the evidence and that you have the solidarity of it to be able to go in and talk about that to your boss. And don't be afraid to do that. I mean, worst case scenario, they tell you this is why, and then you have to go ask somebody else, or you take it higher up. I mean, but don't get yourself fired over sticking to your guns and telling them that I should be making this. You also have to take into some other factors of why they're making more. One thing I really like about my articles that I posted with this assignment is that they take you back in time and show how the gender wage gap has evolved over the years. A woman who worked from 1968 through 1982, the first generation to benefit from civil rights laws, would have earned only about 20 cents for each dollar compared to a man. From 1983 to 1997, a time when there was much greater parity in both wages and workforce participation, the gap narrowed to only 60 cents. But I mean, that's still 40 cents less than a man. 40 cents adds up. I know, I count my change, I keep my change, and that does add up. I'm a broke college kid, so I can only imagine a parent with kids. I mean, that 40 cents probably does add up pretty fast. Over the past 3 generations since the late 1960s, it's gotten a little bit worse, a little bit better, a little bit worse, a little bit better. At no point did men bring home less than twice what women did. So we were making twice as less as men at one point. But I mean, we have also evolved quite a bit. I mean, we used to be seen as people that didn't touch the finances and we stayed at home. And now, I mean, men stay at home. They're stay-at-home dads, and the women work. So I mean, it's just kind of, it's all about how you take it, how you want to do that, how you want your relationship to work. But just because we want to go out and make a name of ourselves does not mean that we should be making less than a man. There is good news though in this situation. Over the past 50 years, there have been 0 overall wage growth, but women's earnings jumped up by 45%, which is quite a bit. I mean, that's almost half. Today's society still see women as the homemaker. Like I said, they're still not really sure, I mean, if we can do that. I mean, just like probably, I think it was, I can't remember the research. I didn't put it in my paper, and I wish I would have now. But, I mean, just like 5 to 7 years ago, women were not allowed to be truck drivers. And it was huge. I remember it as a kid. I mean, still being all over the news that there was a woman who got her, I don't know, her license to be able to drive commercial trucks. And now you see women truck drivers all over the place. I mean, that was just a couple years ago that actually blew up and that expanded. So I mean, we are making great strides, but we're still far behind what we should be. One thing that I really, really liked in my articles, and I have to make it fast, the new Nike commercial is fantastic. It shows that, you know, like if we cry, we're vulnerable, like, or if we get mad that we lost, then we're crazy. It's not that we're crazy and that we're vulnerable, it's that we have such a compassion for the field that we're in. We are allowed to do those things. But I mean, the same goes for a man. Like if a man cries or does anything, I mean, they're shown as weak. But I mean, it's different for women because the men are making that much money and the women aren't. So thank you guys for watching my video. If you would like more, I have attached more to my paper that I have to turn in, and then I'll add this link. Thank you.